Hello, everybody. Welcome to YOMP Short Ones.
We are the short ones.
We are the short ones, and these episodes will be short ones. But speaking of short ones, who's that?
It's me, it's Bouphe, aka Sophie, and I am joining my lovely friend G-Star Games.
Bit unusual because people don't usually see us, do they?
I know, with good reason.
What's that saying? Women should be
seen and not heard.
It's the other way around, isn't it?
Heard and not seen. We should not be seen, heard, smelled. Any of the senses.
Do not perceive. Do not perceive us. But yeah, this is a new segment, and we're going to be talking about 28 years later today, which is a bit different because we usually do movies from our list and we roll a dice, but I want to focus on like new movies or franchises with like certain topics. And today my interest will be around the franchise of 28 years later, and also like your thoughts on it. You know, are you a fan of the old ones? We'll get into it, but
we'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, that's a bit of a rundown, quick rundown. But so 28 years later, you've seen the original movie. So 28 days later.
28 Days Later, I was I was a fan of. That came out when I was about 13.
Yeah.
And loved it. Groundbreaking, I think. It kind of like reinvigorated the zombie movie genre.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know did it go down well at the time? I can't even remember. It was
what, in terms of budget
other people,
and...
Did they like it? It became a bit of a cult classic after a while.
Right. But you don't know if it was like, you know, like a big whoomp at the time.
No, it was big in my circle of friends. We liked it. It was one of those exciting things that was happening. Like,
yeah.
Ooh. But
I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, like, what do you remember at the time that it, like, came out?
I remember it quite well, which is weird because I don't remember films very well. And I haven't watched it in like 20 years or something.
Right.
I haven't, probably longer than that. I haven't seen it in ages, but I still remember how it felt to watch it. And it was a cool movie. It was just a cool movie.
Do you like it because it's very British centric as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always nice to see representation
yeah.
in the media.
Yeah, because, a lot of the time there's, it's very American, I think, right? Yeah. So
anything set in Western sort of places, it is America.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of American zombie, those kinds of films. So apparently it was popular and very critically acclaimed at the time.
Right.
But I guess if anyone has any more input around what they were doing around the time that came out and how they felt about it. But I think it probably would have been well received, and it's obviously a cult classic today. Don't love 28 Weeks Later as much. It's not that
that's
great.
The thing. I don't really remember it. I remember a bit with a helicopter.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. Like, it did not have the same sticking power that 28 Days Later had.
Yeah, it's because it's like moving towards the, we're going into the 2000s a bit more, and it's not very, like, early 2000s was still felt a little 90s, right? And like you can feel the 90s a little bit, and it's early 2000s, and it's got its like own identity. But then moving towards 2007-ish and onwards, it's a bit of I don't really know what the identity is supposed to be.
There wasn't one. We lost all identity. Like in the late 90s and the early 2000s, people had the technology was becoming more available to them, and you had a lot of indie filmmakers coming out with these good ideas of how to make the most out of what they had. Yeah. Right. And 28 Days Later almost kind of tapped into that feeling for me. It didn't feel like a big film.
Well, is that part and parcel because of how it was filmed?
Maybe.
Because it was like 480p shot on like a mini DV.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, but there are certain moments throughout the film that it does feel like a big film, like a big production film and stuff. It's just because there's a point in here around using the technology at the time, and 28 years later does a similar thing where for the slow time shots, and this is probably said like a million times at this point, but I don't know if you knew this, they rigged up like 20 something iPhones on like a 3D printed like thing in like a semicircle to get like
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Okay.
No, I haven't. So I haven't read any trivia on this film. On 28 years later.
I will give you some tidbits. There's going to be some bits that you actually really quite like, I think.
I think so.
They filmed on, I don't know if it was the whole film, but they used the iPhone 15 Pro quite a lot.
I heard that one.
Yeah. And it's a similar sort of thing about using, I guess, like the technology at the time. And I mean, the slow-mo shots were decent enough. I like his, the hyperactive filming that he does and like the cinematography.
Yeah. Cinematography was pretty cool. Like, it feels very realistic, down-to-earth sort of style. It doesn't feel like it feels like, again, it feels like it's got the markings of indie filmmaking where you just kind of figure out what you can do.
Yeah.
Like I was impressed by the you know when every kill had like 2 little pauses.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. Because
it was a nice little touch.
I think so too. And because it's like it's not so much like an illness virus, it's a rage virus. So because I don't know if you knew that, they're not like infected. They are like mentally just enraged.
Really, really mad.
They're just angry.
They're just so mad.
Yeah, they're very angry little guys. So the filming, I think, goes with that. They're very erratic. You know, sometimes there'll be like a zombie thing running, and then it's like they've got like the camera strapped to them, and it's like very up in their face, and the camera rig is moving, and I kind of like those shots. They're cool.
It feels frantic and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, agreed.
And the other bit of cinematography I liked in the dream sequences felt very. It did feel very dreamy.
Yeah.
The second one where I didn't really understand, but I have questions about this that I need to get into with you.
Okay. So there's 2 parts to this film.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's going to be a lot of things that you probably won't have any idea of what's going on because there is a second part that's recently come out. So it's called...
Number 1, why the fuck do we have to have so many parts to film?
You know what?
Why can't we just wrap it up?
I was going to ask you this. I swear to God, it was one of my questions, and it said, like, did it need to be a 2-parter?
No, because the first part, honestly, fucking dicking around. It was too slow.
Yeah, you thought the
so
pacing...
much of it.
Yeah.
Pacing was terrible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the story didn't need a lot of the fucking wanking about, like taking your son to the mainland. Why? Can't you just stay there? What's the point?
I think it's like, because if I remember correctly from the original 28 Days Later, it's like, I think they've secluded England. And
yes, they have quarantined England.
Yeah.
With British Isles.
Yeah, so... I think the rest of the world might be okay, but then like this
they're
little...
pretty chill. It's basically
chill.
Brexit happened, right? Brexit happened. The rest of the world was like, nah, fuck off. We don't give a shit. Yeah. And then Sweden's got a patrol around it because don't even talk. Don't even talk to them. We don't have anything anymore. We can't have sugar in our drinks.
No.
They're taking everything from us.
They're taking our sugar. They're taking...
I mean, that's the main thing that I'm most upset about. Give me back my fucking sugar.
Valid.
But, right, why did the kid have to go on the mainland to... Like, I know it's handy to learn to kill zombies. I guess maybe that's it. But it went on for such a long time. Why... Like, why is the doctor...
oh, I love him.
Why is he not hanging out with anyone else?
I love him so much. I get it,
I love him.
Yeah, he's
great.
He
was, like, one of the only good bits about this film.
Yeah, okay.
Right? I understand that his mom being ill has led him to want to take her to the mainland to find the doctor.
Yeah, I feel like that's motivation for plot, right?
He made no sense.
Who made no sense?
The doctor. Why is he not hanging out with other people? Why is he so keen to kill the mother of a child, but he doesn't want to kill the absolute hulking, massively cocked man that keeps running at him for more morphine? Why does he not kill the zombies? And he's like, I'm sorry that your mother has cancer. Let me take her and kill her.
And put her into my bone temple.
let me just burn it. You know, I don't know even if he killed her. He just put her in the tank, and she was like, "Yeah, it's all right. I'm just gonna go and climb on the bone temple." Like,
yeah. Because I've seen the second part, so yeah. I have the answers for you. But yeah, you going off of the information that you have, it's valid. I totally understand why you feel this way.
This is why I just want things wrapped up in one film. Put it in a film. I know that it's just a money grab, right? This is all just a way to... But yeah. I don't have... Do people even have the time to do this anymore? It feels like we've got less time in general to do things that we want to do. So now we have to sit through 2 hours of a small boy running around... in the forest with loads of naked people and getting confused about the concept of a phone.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I will say that it's a nice... For me, I liked going to the cinema and being like, oh, the part 2's coming out. That should be nice because it's like something to do. Like, there's not a lot going on at the cinema, I feel like. So it was a nice excuse to go to the movies and actually watch part 2. So I felt like a level of excitement and happiness around that. But I understand what you're getting at. It's like, did it really need to be a 2-parter? So the first half was an hour and 50, and I think the second half was an hour and 50 as well. So
it seems excessive, if I'm honest. Release the selfie cut.
Release the selfie cut. I will say,
cut out the party at the beginning. Cut that. Just have a quick one. You can show the dad having a shag with someone. That's fine. He doesn't need to get in all this hassle. You know, there doesn't need to be that much hunting of naughty boys on the mainland.
Yeah.
You can have a little bit of exposition. Off they go.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I don't disagree. And I've watched The Bone Temple, and you'll see that the dad, so Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and obviously the mum's not in it for obvious reasons. So Aaron Taylor-Johnson's not in the second part.
Right.
And it's basically Ralph Fiennes and the kid. And I'm getting to my next favorite point.
You're right.
The Jimmies.
The Jimmies. The Jimmies.
I want to know what you think about that.
Well, I thought it was a bit stupid. I mean, I get it, right? I think having a cult is fun. I think having a cult based around notorious paedophile Jimmy Savile is hilarious.
Well, would he have been outed as that at that point?
No.
Exactly.
So they wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And all this kid's grown up on is Teletubbies. So why is...
Well, they're dressed like the Teletubbies.
Yeah.
Which I never made that connection first. So you made that connection, which is amazing.
He grew up watching things like that, so he's going to just base it on that.
Yeah. Well, he also wears an upside down cross.
The kung fu, very stupid.
Yeah, very weird. It's like, okay. So he wears an upside down cross,
Yep.
And you could see, I think the movie starts out with his dad. You know, I think he's a vicar. So
giving him the cross and saying, "This is great. I love being eaten by zombies. We're going to heaven."
Yeah, literally, like going out in a fucking like blaze of glory.
A glaze of glory. Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on that, and also the fact that there are Americans going to the cinema dressed up as the Jimmies.
I'm fine with that, honestly. Like, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's hilarious because in the context of the film, they don't know that he's, and I don't think Americans know because Americans they're not media literate.
Well, Americans also, only know about America. So
one of my sister's exes, as soon as Jimmy Savile died, before he was outed as being a nonce, he went on a zombie pub crawl dressed as zombie Jimmy Savile.
Oh,
I have the photos.
That is so fascinating to me. Oh my God.
So this was it because he was just this weird guy, right?
Savile.
He was just a weird guy, was Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
And it was funny to make fun of him.
Yeah.
And then you find out.
So when I first came to the UK in 2012, I want to say, or something. Yeah, I can't remember. I can never remember how long I've been here. It's all a blur. But I remember not long after that, it came out that he was what he was, essentially. And obviously, I didn't know the magnitude of that because I didn't know him in media and like what he would do on TV. And obviously, he was around a lot of kids. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. So as an Australian looking in, it's kind of like, what the hell?
Well, Rolf Harris.
Rolf Harris?
Don't you know Rolf Harris?
Rolf Harris.
He's Australian, G.
It rings a bell. But I
want a cult based around Rolf Harris.
You want a what?
We'll have a cult based around Rolf Harris.
Okay.
Right. I have more questions.
Okay, go on.
I mean, apparently I've written down why there, why bother, logistics.
Why where? Like where they're living?
No, I think like with the doctor. Why bother?
So he's obviously
why bother with this ossuary?
So in the second film, I won't give too much information for anyone who obviously hasn't seen it, but he is trying to figure out the zombie situation.
Yeah.
He is actively trying to figure out a cure, what's going on, why are they like this? Is it a psychosis thing? Is it a viral infection? What is it? So
how is he staying alive to the extent that is he just like
he has his own he has a bunker, so to speak.
Okay,
if you will watch the second movie, he is such a joy to watch in the second movie.
I do like Ralph Fiennes.
He's fantastic. I think he's just amazing, and I will say I prefer the second movie over I prefer the Bone Temple over part one.
Right.
There's more going on.
I just don't know why they have to go to the mainland. Can't they just kind of stay on their little island?
So I have some interesting facts about that. So it's called I think it's called Holy Island or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it's filmed in the north of England. I think he said Exham or Hexham. I couldn't figure out. And it's called Holy Island, and it's kind of interesting, the strategic positioning of it, because of the when the tide comes in, that path.
You get a causeway.
Yeah. So it's a real place, and it is like a strategic position. So obviously you're cut off from any dangers for certain parts of the day, zombies, etc., etc. And it's a good and a bad thing, because when you're in a place like that, you're very isolated in a good and a bad way, because you're cut off from the rest of the world, but also, you know, you're safe from the zombies, but you can kind of feel trapped. You
can't get a Tesco delivery.
No, you can't.
There.
No Ocado, no Tesco, no nothing. But it's like apparently that island was founded in 600 AD as a monastery to spread Christianity and was invaded by Vikings. So it's a very famous place and very important place in British history. So I understand like the significance and the symbolism and all that. But I think a lot of the mainland stuff, so when they're out in the forest and all that, so that's the northeast of England, which apparently doesn't get used a lot for filming in general. So that's why they kind of like chose that. And then there was like there's a lot of like monastery stuff. You might find this interesting. So the North Yorkshire Monastery, so Fountains Abbey.
Yep, I've been. It's fucking beautiful.
So that was pretty prevalent in the film, and I thought when I was reading up on the behind the scenes stuff, like you'd probably appreciate that.
I love it. There's loads of abbeys through Yorkshire that I like to visit. And it's nice. Yorkshire's beautiful. Yeah. Take it from me. Visit Yorkshire.
Visit Yorkshire. Here's a funny part that I think you'll find from, I don't know if you've seen it, but so during the trailer, when it was first dropped, that 28 years later was happening, there was like a gaunt looking infected.
Yes.
That looked like Cillian Murphy.
Yes, everyone thought it was Cillian Murphy. Yeah. But it's just a guy that's got like a wasting disease.
Yeah, literally. And I read what his response to it, because I don't think I ever looked it up at the time, but he said, "That's great. People think I look like a zombie cadaver. It's very flattering."
It is, yeah. It's a look. It's zombie chic. You know, the 90s, we had Kate Moss.
Mate, what a thing to say. I love the stupid ass humor in the UK. I know he's like Irish, but like that is what a thing to say. I think it's very flattering.
It's very flattering.
To be compared to a zombie cadaver.
Yeah, but it is Cillian Murphy. It's being compared to.
Yeah, well, true. And then apparently Danny Boyle showed the trailer to his girlfriend and she said, "People are going to think that's Cillian." And then he said, "Don't be silly." And then he said, "So I've eaten a bit of humble pie since."
I enjoyed the bit where Eric was showing his phone to Spike. Yeah. And Spike was like, "What's wrong with her face?"
Yep.
There's somebody on the island that when she eats shellfish, she gets like that. And he's like, "No, she's beautiful." And it just shows how the internet has changed people's perception of
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, isn't that interesting? I kind of like that. It was a bit silly, but I'm like, huh.
No, I like the stupidness. We need to keep the stupidity in British films in particular.
Yes. That's why in the second part, so the Bone Temple, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of gore and like ruthlessness and like horribleness from the Jimmies, which you'll get to see. But anytime Ralph Fiennes is on screen, I'm just like, oh, what a joy. What a joy this man is.
As soon as he got on the screen, I thought, this is where the film is going to get good, but he didn't.
He didn't get a lot of limelight in this one, but in the Bone Temple, it's pretty much like mostly about him. So,
speaking of gore, I did enjoy the head ripping with the skulls coming out, with the spine coming out. That was cool. Massive prosthetic penises everywhere.
There is a lot of that. A bit of interesting tidbit around that is because Spike is like a 13-year-old kid. So they can't just be whipping their willies and tits out. So they had to make, a lot of prosthetics and like bodysuits as well.
Yeah. But you could tell that they were bodysuits, especially with the pregnant lady.
Oh my God, I couldn't.
I but it was hilarious.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have, there was it looked like CGI, and I suppose again that's part of, in turn with keeping things of
like with the times
era. Yeah.
I don't know how much of the original 28 Days. I assume a lot of it was practical. There was a lot of practical effects with this as well, because I watched a lot of the behind the scenes, and there's a lot of makeup artists, like the guy Samson, the big guy.
Yeah, big floppy Willy.
Yeah, he said he had to be in makeup from 2 a.m. and for like 8 hours in the chair, and go film for the rest of the day. So yeah, grueling stuff, really. But they had like movement coaches to like teach them how to be the certain types of zombies, like the big ones that would like crawl on the floor, and the really.
Does Bone Temple tell you why they always have to have so many different types of zombies?
Well, it's developing like any zombie viral movie TV show.
Right.
Over time, you would assume, or at least we're led to believe, that over time, the longer an infection is around, there will be different variants, right? So like in The Last of Us, there's, I don't know, like bloaters or whatever. So I guess it depends what they're exposed to and how that has developed over time. But because it's a rage virus, I don't know why or how much of it would affect their physical.
That's what I'm, and he said it works in a similar way to steroids. I get it. Because when my granddad was on steroids, he did start looking like one of the fat ones on the floor eating worms.
Oh my God.
So I get it. Yeah. But at the same time, this whole thing felt like a video game that I wasn't allowed to play. It was just a big cutscene.
Right. So you didn't like the different variations of these rage?
I just didn't really see much of a point. I mean, I guess it just affects everybody differently, but then they're so stuck in that type. It's like there's no differentiation between. It's like there are their own different species of zombie. It's like they all start looking the same and acting the same, and then it's like, well,
so like the fat ones, I think they were called the low and something. Like they typically crawl around a lot.
Yeah,
to conserve energy, and because they're like big or whatever, but they can get up and like be aggressive at a certain point. So I think it's a psychological thing, right?
Yeah,
it has to be. Yeah, I still want to understand. So this is the thing. So the pregnant zombie. So if it's a psychological thing, if it's a psychosis thing, then they're not dead. They're not. They still are functioning to a certain degree. So yeah, it's just this is why when people are like, actually it's a rage virus, because I guess there is a difference, because they're not dead and decaying in certain ways, right?
But if it's a rage virus and they're not turning on each other as well,
they turned. Oh man, I can't wait for you to see the Bone Temple. so you can see the differences, and like, because obviously there's like a few things that get answered as well, and there's some really interesting scenes in this later one. Again, I agree with you. Did it have to be a two-parter? Otherwise,
everything becomes a franchise now. Everything becomes a big thing, a big deal. Got to make the most out of every little IP.
Yeah. So this was supposed to. They wanted to do 28 months later, but apparently it went through like development and copyright and holder right hell, where Danny Boyle and like Alex Garland, who's the writer, like they wanted to do it, but they fell out. Right. And they didn't want to talk to them, and they didn't want to like carry on or something like that. So that was supposed to happen, but instead now I think it got bought out, or money went into like buying it and getting the rights back. And lo and behold, we get 28 years later.
Okay, so, it's fine. I just think that we could do without the like here's two parts of a film, because nobody wants to sit through 4 hours of a film, but that's fine, I guess. But when a lot of it could have been cut out and it's still 2 hours, I get tired, man.
Yeah, there is a lot of meandering, and I mean, there are, in the first part there are interesting bits, like you know, the hunting and the relationship with his dad and the relationship with his mom, and, you know, he's a young kid and he's learning about the world outside of the confines of where they are. And I understand that, but yeah, I think there are some bits that could probably have been trimmed out.
I could trim it. I could trim it down to nice, tidy little 40 minutes. I think
Sophie
probably.
could do it. She could
I could probably do it. This is what. And the dream sequence with, well, it was. I don't know whether it was a dream sequence, whether it was real life, when they were resting in the church and Spike falls asleep.
Yeah.
And a fatty comes to try and eat his shoelace, but then does his mum kill it?
I think she does.
Forget?
Yeah, I think she does, and then she just blacks out.
Right.
Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, I think that's what happened, because she has moments of
lucidity.
Exactly. And there's a lot that she remembers, and there's a lot of things that she can forget, because she has moments and bursts of like, oh, I remember this and that, and then she'll, you know, go back into being on another planet.
Thinking that Spike's her dad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's because she's got cancer and he doesn't. I love the way he's like, I can't biopsy you, and but it's probably this. So climb in the furnace, we'll get your skull out. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. He was very keen, which is really weird, because I understand what he's saying, because she would need
chemotherapy and
so I get it. But yeah, he was, I guess the doctor side of him was like, there's literally nothing I can do.
I mean, that's better than what doctors do now.
No.
Put you on a wait list.
Well, Jesus.
There's a 9-month wait list to get into the furnace to remove my bones, and this is ridiculous. I want to be in the furnace now.
Fun fact about the bone temple. So it used over 250,000 replica bones to build that.
Cool.
Very cool. And it took 6 months to make that, so.
Wow. Time well spent, guys.
Wow.
I mean, at least it was real. You know, it's not.
Yeah. CGI.
Yeah.
And they're like, place it all around.
Dr. Kelso, I was just thinking of the guy from Scrubs.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So Dr. Kelso, he's like, I thought I'd go my whole life without anyone asking what this fucking bone temple is. And it's like, well, why, you know, you're just doing it, and then what? Even if you do figure it out, then what? Then what, mate?
What about, well, like, figuring out...
Where's he getting all this iodine from? Where's he getting all his, you know, how long has he been there? There's been at least 30 years.
Well, 28 years.
Yeah, but he's been, you know.
Yeah, where was he getting this? Is iodine easily made? Can iodine be made? Okay, so it can be synthesized from natural sources. Okay, so maybe.
Okay.
So underground brines.
Yeah.
Typically, I think, and iodine salts. So maybe
it's a salt.
Yeah. They could be making it, because in the bone temple, he does synthesize quite a few things, and I think I think it might be morphine. I mean, there are poppies in the field as well, so I don't know.
There are, so that's the opium sort of thing.
Right.
But that's a lot of work just to shoot it into a big fucking dicked man.
I think I think the doctor in him, you know, has this, like, we must like memento mori, he says, right? Remember the dead.
Yeah.
So he's a doctor through and through, and he's a bit weird and quirky, but very personable, and he's a treat. He's an absolute treat in the second one. I
love him.
He's such a lovely guy.
He's a fantastic actor in general.
Yeah.
Even though I always thought in the stills and the trailers and stuff, I thought, is that Harrison Ford? This is the face blindness.
The face blindness is kicking in.
As soon as Ray gets covered in iodine, I think it's Harrison Ford. Spitting image.
Yeah, they were trying to, like, do the makeup for him, and they were, like, trying to find the balance of, obviously they didn't want to cover him in real iodine, so it was like sometimes it would look too like brown, so he'd look poopy.
Yeah, that's
and...
iodine. Iodine looks like a really bad fake tan.
Yeah, literally, yeah. So they wanted him to be like orangey, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they pulled that off, but
which is another kind of bad fake tan.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
Like one Cheeto we all know in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I think that about covers it. In terms of like budget, I think it had a budget of 60 million and I think it grossed 150 million. So well done on that, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah, I want you to watch the second part.
Okay. And we'll come back and talk about the second part.
I think so. I think it'll be a nice, like, loose end to wrap up because it's kind of hard to ask you, you know, was it worth bringing it back because you don't know the full picture?
I don't know the full story, but that's the thing. That's why I'm like, this is why I don't like two-parters, especially when they're like released a year apart, because it's like, if I'm mad at this now, and I didn't know when the second part was coming out, I don't know whether it's going to be worth anything, and I get real mad about it.
I personally loved The Bone Temple. I left the cinema very happy and like just, it's a complete tonal shift from the first part.
I think in that case, we could have had The Bone Temple be the main 2-hour film, and you just have like a prequel thing, like just a little pretense of like, this is kind of the shit that's been going down, because it really wasn't important. None of this was important. I'm never going to watch this again. I'm going to be honest with you. It's absolutely pointless in general. It set the scenes for things. A baby came out and it wasn't infected because the placenta's pretty cool. Samson is very doped up and chill about everything.
He's just a chill guy.
He was just a chill guy. Ray Fiennes is completely just sadistic in that he wants to kill perfectly fine women that probably still have a number of weeks left in them. And then, you know, just like Bob's your uncle. I mean, Eric didn't get much fucking screen time because he saved their lives and then got his head ripped off. Anyway.
Oh, the Swede.
The Swede.
I mean, he was kind of just, I don't know, especially watching.
He was there for a means to an end. He saved their lives, and then. Well,
yeah. When you watch the second part, which is the Bone Temple, and I really like. I think his name is Jack O'Connell, the guy from Skins, the guy who played Cook. Yeah, so he does a really good job, and I think that his little group of followers are like, he is just terrifying, I think, and his whole doctrine, his dogma, whatever you want to call it, just terrifying, and the way, because they rescue Spike, right? Well, I say rescue very loosely here. So you'll see how that unfolds, and it'll be nice to come back around to this, and when you have the full picture and you can be like, okay, well, now the first part of this really didn't even need to be a thing, and like the second part is just fantastic.
What did you think about the first part though?
I liked it, but I agree with there's certain parts that I liked about it. Yeah. And I agree with you, there's a lot of meandering and there's a lot of things that maybe just didn't need to linger on that much. I agree with you. I think it could probably have been one film.
Would you eat bacon that's been wrapped in a dirty cloth and left at your bedside by your son?
No.
No, exactly. Were those scrambled eggs really that burnt by the dad? No, they were perfectly edible.
They were fine.
You know?
Yeah.
But I appreciate that even during an apocalypse, they managed to make a lovely little cottage. Nice little place. It's all done up really nicely.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think, it's just interesting to see them cut off from the rest of the world. And, I mean, this is already out in the public anyway, because they mentioned he was going to be in it, but you do see Cillian Murphy. So,
he's there.
He's there, and this will make you even angrier, because I don't know if there's a third part, or if they're going to make a bunch of movies off of his stuff.
Tie things up. We don't know how long we've got left on this planet, you know?
Yeah. Well,
just tie it up.
That could be said for like George R. R. Martin, who still hasn't written the last Game of Thrones.
I don't give a shit
book.
about him. He can. I don't care. Like, but just wrap it up, guys. This is why people that write fan fiction are just they love it, because nothing's ever finished.
Yeah.
People have to finish off other people's ideas for them now because everybody gets tired and lazy.
I mean,
they don't plan far enough in the future. They're like, okay, it was Stranger Things, right? Oh, series 1 went well. Have 4 more seasons. They haven't got any fucking ideas for it. People are having to make it up now.
Yeah. God, that... We can talk about that at some point, but
I'm
my
not
God.
talking about Stranger Things because I've only seen the first season.
So you've watched the first season, but you never went further than that. Okay.
Never went further.
First season's fantastic. I love it to death. But yeah, they lose the plot. They lose the point. They lose everything. And everybody goes into mass psychosis like it's the rage virus because they weren't satisfied. Yeah, that's what happens. That's the cause of the rage virus in the UK.
It was Stranger Things and Brexit.
And Brexit. Yeah.
I think it was Brexit.
And the sugar tax. Let's not forget.
Give me my sugar. I hate sweeteners.
Yeah, they're the worst. They taste horrendous.
Let me buy sugar.
That's what Joe was saying the other day. He said about how chocolate, it doesn't taste like chocolate anymore because they use loads of palm oil.
Yeah, I had some mini eggs yesterday.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, just palm oil.
It's just palm oil.
It's just all palm oil.
I just want chocky.
She just wants chocky. She's a simple gal. She just wants a bit of chocky. That isn't palm oil.
If I was in 28 Days Later, right, there wouldn't be any chocky. We wouldn't have any Coca-Cola at all. Well, actually, no, probably we would. But they wouldn't give us anything.
It's crazy.
Europe wouldn't give us anything.
It's kind of funny to me that they don't even give them things to survive, right? They're just like, you know what? Fend for yourself. Just fend for yourself, mate.
Well, this is what happens with it. This is what you voted for.
Yeah, literally. One last important, well, I think it's pretty cool, but in 28 Days Later, so when they filmed in London, remember at the beginning with Killian and he's on the bridge? So they had 40 minutes to film that, and it was at like 5-6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Which is crazy because obviously London is London, very busy, so very impressive that they managed to get that shot.
I thought it was really cool. That was one of the things that really stuck with you. They managed to film it at times. They worked around everything to try and just like, here, let's block off this section of road for the shortest amount of time possible. Yeah. And they made it work. We can film it, and it worked, and it was really good. Yeah. And now in films, they just kind of like CGI it out. Yeah, I hate the use of CGI sometimes. It feels a little depressing because, you know, but I get it. Like, you know, you cut down costs and it's a cost thing and it's a money thing and all that crap. So I don't think they would be able to do that particular move again very easily. Yeah, not in that capacity, no. Which is sad. And I kind of like, if I had to pick a choice, if I had to pick between city and country, I think the city zombie survival stuff is far more interesting. I agree. I don't completely agree. It's like the same with The Walking Dead. So much of it, if not 90-something% of it, is just in Atlanta, in like the country. You know, there's never any city stuff, or very rarely any city stuff. And I get it, it's probably cheaper and whatever, but easier. Probably don't have to use that much CGI when you're when you're filming out in the country and stuff. But I don't know, that's just a personal preference. But yeah, that was 28 years later, part 1. We will probably come back around to the Bone Temple because I'm interested. And then we can ask people, did this particular short ones need a part 2? Could we have not just wrapped it up? Could we have not? I think we're just exactly the same. We're exactly the same, but it's by force because it's not out on streaming. So sadly, and I refuse to go to the cinemas. Oh God! Though I might for this. I might do it for G. You might do it. I don't even know if it's around or not. But when it does, I looked. You looked, okay. I actually looked. Well, stay tuned, I guess. Yeah. Stay tuned. And let us know if you like
this episode. We are now focusing and giving a lot more focus on YouTube and doing these style of videos. So make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about this new format.
Please do. I want to know that I'm not the only one going mad. Please.
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 Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.